Welcome to So High, the 420 show, where we educate and advocate for the cannabis culture. We are your hosts, Biz and Cass.
Hello.
Should we jump into this week's headlines?
Yes.
Vermont becomes the 11th state to legalize cannabis sales. That happened October 7th. So if you're heading to Vermont this winter to go snowboarding or skiing, you can get your legal cannabis.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I have one that is from off of the Bearded Bros Instagram, but coming from Marijuana Moment article source. It says the U.S. government supports removing marijuana from strictest global drug schedule. The U.S. government is backing a World Health Organization recommendation to remove marijuana from the most restrictive global drug scheduling category. It goes on to say, at a United Nations Commission on Narcotic Drugs meeting in Vienna on Thursday, U.S. Ambassador Jackie Wolcott said that the cannabinoidal proposal threatens to introduce legal ambiguities and contradictions that would undermine effective drug control. But then it goes on to say, while the recommendation would simply offer clarification that CBD containing no more than 0.2% THC isn't a controlled substance under the interracial treaties, the U.S. came down against that and several other cannabis-related proposals. So, yeah.
So we're going to remove, we're backing the removal of the worldwide schedule, but we can't get it off Schedule 1 in our own country, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. So last week, we were up in the air with the with Pennsylvania and whether police could search your car for the smell of cannabis alone. And this week we found out smell of cannabis alone isn't cause for vehicle search. Pennsylvania court rules. And that just happened this week in Allentown, Pennsylvania. A Pennsylvania appeals court reversed the judge's ruling that state police didn't have a valid legal reason for searching a car just because it smelled like cannabis. So just know your rights, know what's happening out there. The police do not have probable cause to search your car based on the smell of cannabis alone. Okay, so folks, we just want you to be aware of your rights and know what's happening.
Yes.
So there it is. So now we know that's the fact. So know your rights.
So this one says, it's also off the Bearded Bros Instagram from the Los Angeles Times. It says, Mexico is poised to become the biggest legal marijuana market in the world. Who will most benefit? So it goes on to say, Mexico's marijuana revolution is on display steps from the nation's Senate, where for the last 9 months, activists have maintained a fragrant cannabis garden. Each day, hundreds of people stroll amid elaborate of towering green plants, freely lighting joints and getting high. Their wafting smoke is meant to serve as a reminder to senators who have to walk through the plums to get to the work. Lawmakers have until December 13th to pass pot legislation under orders from the Supreme Court, which 2 years ago struck down a marijuana ban as unconstitutional. After decades of restrictive drug policies that fueled deadly cartel wars, Mexico is poised to become the biggest legal cannabis market in the world.
Go Mexico. I think Mexico has it right.
Yeah.
And, if you're going to go do a stand in or a grow in, I guess what this would be called, they're literally growing outside of the Senate and just lighting up and smoking every day and making the senators pass them while they're smoking and hanging out and growing cannabis right on the property. Can we get a movement like that here?
I would love it.
Here from Ganjapreneur, I have Michigan governor signs expungement bills. So if you live in Michigan, please check into that. There is an expungement bill that has been signed, and low-lying cannabis, anything on your record for cannabis will be expunged. So that's some good news for Michigan.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last one I have here is also from Bearded Bros Instagram, and it is titled, Groundbreaking Study Shows Legal Weed Absolutely Makes the Workplace Safer. So it goes on to say the immediate impact of legalizing medical marijuana was associated with a 19.5% drop in the expected number of workplace fatalities among workers, again, aged 25 to 44. So once the state was 5 years into their medicinal marijuana program, the numbers fell even more to 33.7 fewer work-related fatalities.
That's awesome. So the workplace is actually safer in a legal cannabis market.
Yeah. Very.
Love that. And this is something that falls also along those lines, also from the Bearded Bros. Medical cannabis doesn't cause cognitive decline in seniors, study finds. A new study conducted has found no evidence of cognitive decline in senior citizens who regularly smoke medical cannabis to treat chronic pain. So that's pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
Also, Maine's first day of cannabis sales reached nearly $100,000.
Jeez.
So that's pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Go Maine.
Jeez.
It must be nice. Yeah, I just wanted to cover a couple things here that questions I always get asked. And this is from Dr. Dustin Solak. It's myth. Cannabis is addictive. That is not true. It is fact. Cannabis dependencies does exist, but not common. One study found that only 9% of those who try cannabis develop dependence, compared to, example, 24% who try heroin. Furthermore, marijuana dependence is much safer. The withdrawal effects are mild and similar to caffeine withdrawal. Like I've said before, cannabis is not comparable to drugs. It's not comparable to alcohol. You can compare it to caffeine if you want to compare its addictive
like withdrawal symptoms.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you just get a little headache.
Right. And here's something people always ask me, how long does cannabis stay in your system? So I found this chart. It says in blood and saliva, cannabis stays in your system a few hours. In your urine, let me get this. It's on the small side here. In your urine, one-time use can stay in your system up to 13 days. Regular use can stay in your system up to 45 days. And heavy use of cannabis in your urine can stay for up to 90 days. And in your hair, cannabis can stay in your system up to 90 days. So there are the facts. Now you know, if you got to get a drug test, try to stop smoking, I guess 90 days out.
What is that, 3 months?
Good luck with that.
Better off getting a detox or something like that.
Right. Seriously. So should we jump into this week's guest?
I think so.
All right, let's do it. This week we have Danny Djonovic, also known as the Budfather. You can find him on IG at the Budfather. You can find the company on thebudfatherfamily.com. The Budfather is about family. Cannabis has always brought about the sense of camaraderie amongst its users, and the Budfather aims to create that same energy. In 2008, founder Danny Djonovic began traveling from his home in New York to sunny California regularly, setting the foundation in place for what would become the Budfather. The Budfather branding has a classic old-school New York mobster look. Danny chose the Budfather image not only because of his New York roots, but because of the dedication to the family mentality it represents. Danny stated, "I've been selling weed since I was 13 years old. It all started so I could support my own habit. Smoking trees is the only thing that I have found that has helped me not only become more aware of the truth and less anxious, but also a better person and a better father." In November of 2018, Danny and his associates were able to get the Budfather brand in licensed dispensaries and delivery services in California. The Budfather offers 100% clean and lab-tested products, including some of the best top-shelf indoor flowers on the market, pre-rolls, and a variety of concentrates. Danny emphasized, "It was great to have illegal cannabis being sold. We've come a long way, but still have so far to go. I know how that feels. The cannabis industry is bursting with anticipation for what is on the horizon. Danny and his colleagues are poised to capture the full momentum of the future." Welcome, Danny, to the show, man.
Thank you guys for having me, first of all, and I guess welcome you to my family as well.
Oh, man, thank you so much. I've been following you on IG for a minute, so I've watched the progression. And my first question, I guess got to get this out of the box because I have been so curious. What's your favorite gangster film, man? Because you're always posting all these memes of like, or shows or whatever,
I have to succumb to the Godfather being the favorite gangster.
All right. Yeah.
There's so many good ones. I mean, you can kind of, go 1A, 1B, 1C with Godfather. Casino, Goodfellas. Obviously, those are the main big three, I think. Oh shit! Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's there's the big three right there, but there's so many other good ones. I think one of the big ones that people kind of forget about because it's not so mainstream is Once Upon a Time in America. It's a really really good flick that kind of went by some more of like the true story kind of stuff that you get out there.
And then you started creating memes out of some of these, right? Some of these shows and some of these movies. I love it. I enjoy it. What was the driving force there?
I mean, I just think there's so many ways that like you can relate, mobster movies or mafia movies to the cannabis industry. It's it all kind of started with prohibition of alcohol in the 20s and 30s, and cannabis has been in prohibition for a long time as well. A lot of the same mindsets and the same kind of people got involved in distribution and supplying a demand that was out there. And I think just as far as like the memes go, it's just what people want on social media. They want those quick kind of jabs or quick laughs that they can grab and kind of move on.
I don't know. Sometimes you got me paused and I'm just thinking, man, I'm like, yeah, you're right about that. You know what I mean?
That's the goal, is to try to keep you focusing on my content as much as possible. So if I put some thought-provoking stuff in there to kind of try to accomplish that, and I think like-minded people and people that people that relate to it will love it, and people that don't will just kind of scroll past it. They'll still follow me and they'll still look at it, but they won't like it.
So the name The Budfather, tell us a little bit about where that came from.
Yeah, it's a funny story actually. Man, this was probably like 7-8 years ago, around 2012, 2013. Just smoking, kind of hanging out with my brother-in-law. I rolled up a fat blunt. We started hitting it on the porch, came inside. I was playing with the kids, just kind of doing my thing with the kids. My brother-in-law was like super high, so he pulled me aside and he's like, I don't understand like how you're functioning and you're really still, how you can go and play with the kids. Like he was getting paranoid and worried about other people knowing that he was high. And for me, it was like, that's part of like why I started smoking weed, was to kind of bring me more down and kind of let me enjoy life a little bit more. So anytime I have a chance to to kind of lighten the mood or help people throughout any kind of social interaction, it's always been better with when I was lit. So the Godfather was on TV. My my brother-in-law was like, oh man, like I don't know how you can do this. You're like the Budfather. And I kind of am like the Budfather. So I just kind of rolled with it from there.
Love it, man. I love that story. Just for like, some people out there that, maybe the people that don't smoke, right? Being a dad and being a smoker. Now, I think that goes hand in hand personally. Can you just explain that to us?
For me, it's just enhanced, my ability to be present with my kids. A lot of the times, like you'll hear about, the deadbeat dad who's a drug addict or the alcoholic. You never really hear about the pothead dad who doesn't take care of his kids.
True. So, selling weed at 13, right? What year are we talking about here, and who were the first customers?
I'm going to show my age, but this is probably like 1996. I started selling weed in school, and it was just kind of, people, my classmates and peers that, were really like the biggest customers. And then, just kind of, kept that kind of same energy for a while. And it was really just about like, trying to sell as much weed so that I could smoke for cheaper or smoke for free.
Right. Been there.
Then it turned into some bigger plays as I got older, and then obviously making the trip to California in the 2000s was kind of like the the tipping point for me to like look at it as like a career, something that I could, base my life on and, provide for my family with.
Now, being so young, 13, and being in New York, what was that like? I couldn't, like, selling at 13 years old in New York City. What was that like?
I didn't think anything of it. It was more like, more like the same. It was like, if I wasn't going to be selling it, then I would have to be, dealing with some shady people and kind of, rolling the dice on what you were going to get, and then, how much you were going to get for it. It always was kind of like a stepping stone for me to really see, like, not only like was it like a viable product for people, that it was helping people, but it was also like something that, you could benefit from financially. And then, obviously, moving on from nickel and dimes is taking it to another level when you start playing with bigger units and moving weight and all that kind of stuff was just like par for the course from where I grew up. I didn't really feel like I was standing out or doing something that a lot of other people weren't doing. I just tried to do it, with like the best kind of business ethics that I could. My dad, was a business owner, and kind of instilled some of those entrepreneurial values in me at a young age. I was peeling potatoes at 9 years old, so
right on.
Always had the hustle and always kind of had the motivation to to do better in life. And I didn't at 13 think that like I would be selling weed when I'm in my 30s, but it's crazy how things work out.
It is a hustle, man. People, that have never been involved with the culture. I mean, you have to have an entrepreneur mindset. I mean, moving cannabis isn't, I mean, sometimes it sells itself, but you still got to be out there networking and everything else, like, any other business.
True. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, the good weed sells itself. But somebody's got to collect that cash too.
Right. True. So now let's go from New York to the legal market of Cali. What did that feel like, leaving New York where it was so, you're prosecuted? And
I have a wife and two young kids. So it was more about just kind of looking at it as like a viable career opportunity. And then, after traveling back and forth across the country for a few years, ended up making some good relationships and having people out here that were, asking me to stay out here full time and help them out with, their operations. And that kind of turned into, a big family decision, because most of my family's still back east in New York and on the East Coast. And, my wife is the same way. So having, taking our kids and, from their grandparents and from their cousins and all that kind of stuff was a big decision. Sure, but yeah. It was something that I think, not only was good for our life financially, but our lifestyle as well. My wife now has the opportunity to, stay home and raise our kids, and not have to rely on a nanny or a grandma and grandpa, watching the kids. So that was a big factor in it. The other part was just kind of like doing what you love. You know what I mean? Like I've always been enamored with cannabis since I was a kid, and to be able to have an opportunity to make that a career was just something I really couldn't pass up.
Very cool. Very cool. So I guess going off that question a little bit, it was, whose idea was it to, go all the way out to Cali? And was it?
Not gonna lie, it was mostly my idea. Mm-hmm. My wife was down with it. Like I said, it was more about a lifestyle and having the ability to be there for your children when they're young. And then she's a cannabis user as well, of course. But I think mostly it was my decision.
Nice. So the Budfather has a full operation in California. Can you kind of tell us about that?
Can you say that again?
Oh, the Budfather has a full operation going on in California.
Yes, we got operations in California. We have I have a partner with a distribution and manufacturing license up in Sacramento. Also do a lot of consulting for for other cannabis companies, cultivation. We've built out helped build out a couple cultivations in Adelanto and Sacramento. Also, doing some consulting with some co-packers on the distribution side. I've done pretty much everything from growing, one light in my garage back in New York to, 100 light rooms.
Wow.
So, it's gone. And again, I'm not going to say that like I'm a grower per se, but I think I have a good, frame of mind for, what the process entails, and then also like, what products that we should be growing, what strains we should be focusing on, and how we should be developing breeding programs, and then what the current market for cannabis is, and what strains people are trying to smoke. Do they want pre-rolls? Do they want concentrate? There's so many different SKUs out there right now that you got a lot of people who've never really been a smoker, who are everyday customers at dispensaries because they like the creams, or they like edibles, or it helps them go to sleep, or it helps them not feel depressed, or gives them an appetite. And there's so many benefits to this plant, and I think just with the way everything is going, you're going to see even more products out there that you haven't even thought of.
Yeah, I think we're at the beginning stages. I think we're just discovering how much the plant can really help people.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
So at your operation in California, what's going on inside? Like, what products are you being made? Anything that goes on inside?
You guys are probably looking at a background of a cage over there and some boxes. It's a lot of packaging. So I'm running a co-packing facility in San Bernardino right now. We're packaging up a bunch of flour, making pre-rolls, packaging up concentrates, making edibles at another location. And then obviously it all starts with the grow. So you got to have either partners or a facility somewhere where you're focusing on cultivation.
Jumping forward to 2018, what was it like to see your product in licensed dispensaries for the first time?
It was cool. I'm not gonna lie. It came with a lot of challenges. It came with a lot of, compromises, you would say. Just with the way the California regulations are written, it doesn't make it easy to get product out there. So it was definitely a big accomplishment to get product out on the open market. Of course, we'd love to get as much product as we can out there. It's just it's so expensive when you're talking about having logistics in place and having your own grow and having your own packaging facility, having your own employees. I mean, just one brand could employ up to 50 to 150 people. So I mean, there's a lot. It's a big undertaking to go into. So I was definitely proud of that. I think it was a culmination of a bunch of good business deals that I've done in the past that kind of led me to have these opportunities. And I mean, a lot of times you kind of get involved in certain situations and they might not work out, but maybe they lead to something else down the road. And that was kind of one of the big tipping points for me was up until like even before 2018, there was a good 2 years where I was just trying to find my place and find the right partners and find the right groups to work with. And that's the most challenging part, is really finding people that value you and then having the same kind of values that they have. And being that cannabis is kind of being more openly accepted in society. You're having some people who really don't give a shit about the plant or don't give a shit about the patients, but they care about their bottom line. So they're getting in to a new emerging business thinking that they're going to be multimillionaires overnight. So yeah, I mean, a lot of business people getting involved in the business now, and thinking that it's just a commodity, when and not really paying attention to the culture. And I think that's where a lot of people went wrong, is just looking at it as another trinket, another notch on their belt, so to say. But the real cannabis consumers, the ones that are out there every day, kind of pushing the market to where it is now, are all about quality. They're all about culture, and they're all about like authenticity. So seeing some of these these new brands pop up, it might look like they're doing great online and on your Instagram feed and all the professional pictures and all the content, but I would be, I guess, suffice to say that maybe you shouldn't be judging a book by its cover so much, and kind of do a little bit of research before you determine what cannabis brands to really look for.
You just dropped a bunch of knowledge on people that I hope they take and think about.
I mean, that's kind of what I've learned is, like, throughout this process, it's almost been like, don't give out all your info. Don't tell people what they should and shouldn't be doing. I kind of think it's the opposite. I feel like, if you put that good energy out there, it's going to come back to you one way or another. And it might not be immediate. And I think that's part of what people who want to be in this business need to understand, that nothing's going to be immediate. It's going to be something that it's a marathon, right? It's something that you're going to either, you're going to be in it for decades, or you're going to, expect to be a multimillionaire overnight, and then you'll probably be out of the business pretty soon.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so now we know that you know this, but so the viewers know, the Budfather brand offers 100% clean, lab-tested products, including some of the best top-shelf indoor flowers on the market, pre-rolls, and a variety of concentrates. So with that, can you tell us about some popular strains or concentrates that you've been working on recently?
Yeah, sure. We just got a new batch of Bacchio concentrates, some mochi. We got blueberry muffins, orange creamsicle.
Oh man, I'm like drooling over here. Hold on. Okay.
Not flavors, man. And then our partners on the manufacturing side do a great job of extracting. We have hydrocarbon extracts on the market right now. We started working on some non-solvent stuff too. So hopefully, the beginning of 2021, we'll have some hash rosin out there as well. And then as far as flavors, it's always kind of rotating in and out from different flavors. We just got some really nice Godfather OG, no pun intended, but Godfather OG that I think is going to be a staple strain for us on the flower side. And then of course, pre-rolls, ranging from good OGs to those fruity hybrid exotic tastes that everybody's looking for.
Nice, man. How has because 2020 has affected a lot of businesses in a negative manner, and some in a positive way. How's 2020 treated your company?
Oh, shit, man, I can't really complain. 2020 has been pretty good for us. As far, obviously there's a bunch of hoops to jump through, and having to deal with COVID and all the restrictions out there has definitely been a challenge. But just as far as like building our business up, it's now like our second year of like kind of running a legal cannabis business. And I think, we've surpassed our first year already. And then, just kind of, looking to grow every year from here and on out.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations on that, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So final question here. What dispensaries can people find the Budfather in? Is it just in the Cali area, or where's it at?
I mean, right now we're just in California. We're working on expanding into other states. I've had a couple of conversations with some groups out in my home state, and then some other states out on the East Coast. Also, Oklahoma and Las Vegas. So, we're doing our best to kind of, work through all those, legal hoops and get into other states. But I think, first and foremost, we wanted to, get a presence here in California and just let everybody know that, like, we're about, working with the best top quality, products out there. And when people think about that, they don't think about Oklahoma or Las Vegas. They think about California. We're in a bunch of dispensaries. Sacramento, got the Humble Root. Down in SoCal, we've got Green Chamber, Green Wolf out in the Valley, a couple other dispensaries here and there. But I mean, that's part of, our next kind of phase is to really step up our sales. The first year or two, we've been kind of, really looking at production and making sure that we have, the right strains in rotation and the production, being in line to where we want it to be. And now, actually, within like the last few months, we've been ramping up our sales. So, if you have a dispensary in California that you frequent, please let them know that the Budfather products are available, and we'll make them an offer that they can't refuse.
Nice. So you're telling us there's a chance we're gonna have you on the East Coast here soon. I mean, it might happen, huh?
And I'm from the East Coast, so that's where those are where my roots are. I'm never gonna really forget that. So it's always been a goal of mine to get back on the East Coast. I don't know about living out there anymore, but maybe a vacation house out there wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, those Cali winters aren't too bad. I know they're not.
Can't lie about that. I haven't missed the New York winters one bit.
So we should put this guy through the 10 weed commandments.
I think so.
All right, these are 10 questions we're gonna throw at you, and cool. They're mostly weed oriented.
Yeah.
Do you want to kick them off? Or?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
So number 1 is, how old were you and when did you meet Mary Jane?
I was 13. I was 13 years old. My uncles were, I had a lot of uncles on my mom's side. They were like 7 to 10 years older than me, and one of my uncles introduced me to it, and I gotta shout him out. Thanks, Zeph. Love you, bro.
Number 2 is, medicinally and therapeutically, how does cannabis help you?
Man, I mean, there's so many different ways. Physically, mentally, I think is where it really helps me out. Just kind of, getting myself grounded to, deal with just life. You know what I mean? I know, it might sound a little corny, but like I've used cannabis almost on a daily basis since I was 13 to just get by.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so number 3, has cannabis helped you in your personal and or business life?
Yeah, I mean both. Business wise, I've obviously I'm making a career out of it, and then personal wise, like I've just, my relationship, with my wife, obviously, we use cannabis every night, kind of make it a part of our routine at the end of every day to kind of go over, our day after, smoking, couple blunts or whatever. And then, obviously, we talked about the kids earlier. I think just kind of opening up myself to being a kid again. A lot of people forget when they're parents that like what it was like when they were kids. And I think cannabis helps me with that.
Very cool.
So number 4, we've kind of touched base on, but we'll go over it again. And number 4 is, where are you from and what's your favorite part of that place?
I'm from the Bronx, New York, man. My favorite part had to be just when I was a kid, I grew up with all my cousins kind of living right around the block. So I just have very good memories of just kind of hanging with the family.
Yeah, but that was fun in the Bronx, man, with the family all around.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of opposite. Number 5, what is your least favorite part about where you're from?
The least favorite part, I think, was just like the whole fast-paced New York lifestyle. Like everything was all about kind of doing it as fast as you could, moving as fast as you can, and then it's funny thing is, like when I first moved out here, when we first moved out here to Cali, and like at the grocery store, like I got, somebody bagging up my groceries, where like that never happened on the East Coast. And then I'm like, you know what, like move over, like let me bag them. You weren't going fast enough. You know what I mean? Still kind of have that like built into me, from being from New York, but I definitely like the, the Cali vibes of, just kind of moving at a gingerly pace.
Yeah. Number 6, favorite place or places away from home.
Wow. That's a tough one. There's so many amazing places. Me and my wife went to Hawaii for our anniversary, and I still have yet to kind of relive that experience. It's one of the most beautiful places I've been to. Yeah, that's definitely on the top of my list. If not number 1, it's in my top 3 easy. I love Hawaii.
I've never been.
We got to get you to Hawaii.
Okay, so number 7, what laws, cannabis related or not, would you like to see passed in your home area?
I mean, obviously, I'd love to have, people have access to cannabis in New York. The medical system that they have over there right now is a joke. There's not really, giving access to anybody besides, people on their deathbeds. As far as, calling it recreational, medicinal, I think that's a political thing. It's medicinal for everyone. Every user, whoever has smoked a joint or lit up before, knows that, there's medical benefits, whether that's physical or emotional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. Number 8, favorite cannabis related film.
Oh, wow. Cannabis related film. I'd have to go with like Pineapple Express, man.
Nice.
Classic laughs. It's a good hour and a half of just laughs and stupid, funny stuff. But, I'm a big fan of Seth Rogen and, that whole kind of humor. So I have to go with Pineapple Express.
Nice. Yeah, I just watched that last week again. I was sitting there smoking, dying, man.
Okay, number 9. What is your favorite 420 song or favorite song or genre to smoke to?
420 song. I don't know if I have a particular favorite song, but I like to rock out to like the old classic rock when I'm smoking. Like 1970s, 1980s rock is really I think the most synergistic with my experiences with cannabis.
Nice. And number 10, what's your stance on recreational cannabis legalization on a state and federal level?
I mean, I think it's all about politics, and just from being involved in the California market, you can see that it's all about tax revenue, and if cigarettes and alcohol are illegal federally, it's really a joke that cannabis isn't. It's been probably used as a medicine, for thousands of years. So for some government agency to come up with a rule and classify cannabis as a Schedule II substance is just a joke to me. So I think federal legalization is around the corner. The California system is almost like a prototype for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I don't know if that's good news or bad news.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Happen,
Well, Danny, thank you so much, man, for joining us today.
Of course, man. Thank you guys for having me. I had a blast.
Yeah, man. Danny Djonovic, the Budfather. You can find him on IG at the Budfather. You can check out the company, thebudfatherfamily.com. Make sure you go check them out online. Lots of great content and product there, I promise you. And for us, you can find us on IG at So High Show. Like, share, follow, subscribe, and stay high or get high.
Yep.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Welcome to the family.
Thank you. Bye.